Take a look at this forest. This is Mabira, one of Uganda's dense tropical rainforests. It is hot, wet, and packed with broad-leafed trees that have stood for generations. And this is Murchison Falls, where the mighty River Nile forces its way through a narrow rock gorge. This water system is a lifeline for local aquatic life and a massive draw for tourists. Here in East Africa, we face a difficult choice every day. On one hand, we want to cut timber for fuel and build large hydroelectric dams to power our growing cities. On the other hand, we know we have to protect our wildlife and the tourism industry that relies on it. You might wonder if this tug-of-war between nature and development is unique to Africa. To answer that, we are going to travel across the globe. We're heading to the freezing, mountainous west coast of Canada, a province called British Columbia. Even with its snowy peaks and radically different climate, British Columbia is fighting the exact same battle between building industrial wealth and keeping nature intact. This image shows the landscape we are dealing with. British Columbia is rugged, defined by the towering Rocky Mountains and brutally cold winters. Look closely at these trees. This is a coniferous forest. Instead of the wide, flat leaves you would see in a Ugandan hardwood forest, these trees survive the freezing temperatures by growing narrow, needle-like leaves and soft wood. As you can see in this photo, all that soft wood makes for incredibly valuable timber. Commercial logging, or lumbering, is a giant industry here, relying on heavy machinery to cut and transport millions of logs. When companies clear-cut these steep mountainsides, heavy machinery rips out the vegetation that bears, birds, and countless other animals call home. This destruction of habitat forces wildlife to flee and leaves the mountainside unprotected. This picture shows what happens next. Without the deep tree roots holding the earth together, heavy rains wash the soil right off the steep slopes, causing massive, destructive landslides. Whether a forest is cleared to make charcoal in Africa or chopped down for commercial timber in Canada, stripping away the trees breaks the physical foundation that holds the entire ecosystem together. Long before European settlers arrived and started commercial logging, the indigenous people, the Native Americans or First Nations, lived here. As you can see in this image of a First Nations gathering, they learned to survive in this harsh coastal environment. This fish is the salmon, and it was the absolute center of the First Nations' traditional way of life, providing a reliable food source in an unforgiving climate. This map shows the salmon's journey. Hatching in mountain streams, they swim to the ocean, and years later swim back up to lay eggs. But growing cities need electricity, so engineers build massive hydroelectric dams across these rivers. Look at the sheer size of this dam. To a returning salmon, this is an impenetrable concrete wall. They cannot jump over it, which means they cannot reach their breeding grounds. A country can generate clean electricity for its human population, or it can let a legendary fish species survive. Without intervention, they cannot have both. To prevent the total loss of their forests and their rivers, the local government realized they had to step in with strict rules and clever engineering. This worker is planting a new tree, part of a practice called sustainable forestry. By legally limiting how many trees can be cut down and forcing logging companies to replant immediately, they ensure the forest can slowly heal itself. And to fix the dam problem, they built this. It is called a fish ladder. It acts as a staircase made of flowing water built right next to the dam, allowing the salmon to jump up step by step and bypass the massive concrete wall entirely. Industrial development and natural conservation do not have to be enemies. With careful planning and human ingenuity, a country can harvest its resources while keeping its ecosystems alive. Look at this ski resort. British Columbia brings in huge amounts of money through winter sports and mountain tourism, exactly the same way East Africa draws visitors for wildlife safaris. And just like the salmon in Canada, local industries closer to home, like these fishermen catching Nile perch in Lake Victoria, depend completely on healthy, unpolluted waters. The tension never really goes away. Tourists and local communities want untouched forests and rivers full of fish, while growing nations need power and materials for new industries. Even in a wealthy nation like Canada, the lesson is clear. If we destroy our natural wealth just to build today's industries, we leave ourselves with nothing to attract tomorrow's tourists.